This is Terry Kurtz online reporting on Victor Valley, High Desert, and Mojave River Valley events, activities, entertainment, sports, and history. Cannabis, cafes, expanded outdoor drinking, an end to a banking fee. These are among the roughly 1,000 new laws hitting California in January. The state is allowing more on-street alcohol sales and food in cannabis lounges. Supporters say the laws will increase Central City foot traffic, which has yet to fully recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. One issue receiving a great deal of attention from lawmakers involves retail theft, specifically smash and grab. New laws allow for stricter penalties, including one creating sentencing enhancements for selling stolen property valued at $50,000 or more. Another law increases penalties for car break-ins and auto theft. It also creates a new crime for possessing stolen property taken during a vehicle theft or unlawful entry of a car. Californians who try to withdraw money but don't have enough in their bank accounts won't fall deeper into a financial hole from having to pay a fine thanks to a new state law. The law covers instances in which banks charge customers when their withdrawals are declined instantaneously, such as at ATMs, because of insufficient funds. Assembly Bill 2017 applies to banks and credit unions that are regulated by the state. Proponents call penalties for insufficient funds junk fees and say getting rid of them will protect financially vulnerable consumers. In another consumer protection measure, businesses that defraud consumers sometimes pay a couple of $1,000s in civil penalties under current California law, or they will be ordered to pay millions of dollars but then close down or declare bankruptcy, leaving their victims without compensation. This new law will help change that. It will establish a restitution fund in the state treasury that can be used to try to fully reimburse consumers. Assembly Bill 1366 will let the state attorney general pursue disgorgement or repayment of ill-gotten gains in cases where companies violate unfair competition or false advertising laws. The money recovered would go into the new fund. The new year is shaping up to be a confusing one for Californians unlucky enough to buy a new or used car that turns out to be a clunker. As of the first of the year, car buyers who purchase a faulty vehicle will have to navigate a new version of the state's lemon law that for 5 decades has given consumers the right to demand car companies fix or replace defective vehicles they sell. That is, unless lawmakers quickly pass a law that allows some of the car companies to opt out of the new requirements. The confusion stems from a law the governor signed in September after the bill was hastily jammed through the legislature in the waning days of the session following secret negotiations between lobbyists. The governor said it was important to address the problem of California's courts getting clogged with lemon law cases, even as critics said the bill significantly watered down consumer protections. The governor said he signed it only after lawmakers said they'd introduce legislation to make the reforms voluntary for automakers, legislation lawmakers say they've already introduced. But now it's anyone's guess how long it'll take the bill to make it through the Senate and the Assembly and get the governor's signature. California has become the latest battleground over voter identification requirements, a long-time conservative priority newly propelled in recent years by complaints of election fraud. Under a state law that takes effect in January, local governments across California will be prohibited from compelling voters to present identification to cast a ballot in an election. Democrats resist ID requirements, which they argue disenfranchise young, low-income, disabled, and non-white voters without providing any real benefit because they believe there is not widespread election fraud. Supporters of mandatory voter identification believe it addresses growing public concerns about election integrity. From our How soon we forget, File. We flash back not so very long ago to the good year 2023. This is the best of 2023. Top stories from TKOL, Terry Kurtz Online, your High Desert Sports Report, and Victor Valley TV Local Edition newscasts. Video Sports' favorite stories of 2023. A Brightline update opens this local edition newscast. The high-speed Brightline rail system connecting Southern California to Las Vegas has officially broken ground. The $12 billion high-speed train's official groundbreaking has taken place at the location of its Las Vegas station. Brightline West's high-speed trains will reach speeds of 200 miles an hour on their way from Rancho Cucamonga to Las Vegas, with stops in Hesperia and Apple Valley. The 218-mile route will be constructed in the middle of Interstate 15 with zero-grade crossings. Groundbreaking for the California stations have yet to be announced. Hesperia's station will be located within the I-15 median at the I-15 Joshua Street interchange and will function primarily as a local rail service for residents in the high desert on select southbound morning and northbound evening weekday trains. Apple Valley's station will be located on a 300-acre parcel southeast of Dale Evans Parkway and the I-15 interchange. The station is intended to offer a future connection to the High Desert Corridor and California High-Speed Rail. The fast food franchisee who owns 180 Burger King, Taco Bell, and Popeyes locations in California says automation is a fact of life for the industry and that the minimum wage hike for fast food workers is spurring him to install more self-service kiosks. The franchisee is scrambling to get a hold of as many self-service kiosks as he can from vendors because he wants to install them in all of his restaurants in California over the next 30 to 60 days. Self-service kiosks are now being added directly on the front counter of restaurants with the aim to remove registers completely. In addition, artificial intelligence-powered drive-through ordering is underway for all locations. The goal is to be 100% artificial intelligence order-taking capable by this time next year. Burger King, Taco Bell, and Popeyes employ 3,700 fast food workers in California. The wage increase has significantly raised the restaurateurs' labor costs. The first payroll since the wage hike went into effect was 25% higher than it was in March. The Victorville Wellness Center will admit its first individuals and families in time for the holidays. The first of its kind innovative center incorporates on-site medical and recuperative care for the unhoused. The facility is the state's first low-barrier, non-congregate emergency shelter to offer interim housing and wraparound support services with a medical and recuperative care clinic on site. One of the center's most unique features is the inclusion of medical services and recuperative care. Local hospitals will be able to discharge Victorville's unhoused directly to the Wellness Center Medical Clinic to receive the recuperative care they need to recover. With expenses reimbursed through Medi-Cal, the medical clinic and recuperative care will be self-sustaining services. The design of the modular housing units provides 110 separate units with a minimum capacity of 170 beds. Units vary in size, including single, double, and family units. The center includes community spaces, a dog kennel, community garden, industrial kitchen, and recreational sports courts. The Victorville Wellness Center housing units and support service buildings are located on 4.5 acres of city-owned land located on the 16,000 block of First Street. The Wellness Center was constructed primarily through a $28 million Home Key grant from the California Department of Housing and Community Development. Addressed by a number of nonprofit faith-based groups. Senior homelessness is growing at an extremely rapid rate. Statewide, 45% of unsheltered individuals are 50 or older. In 2023, nearly 1,300 adults age 55 and older interacted with the county's homeless response system. San Bernardino and Victorville are the cities with the highest numbers of homeless. In Victorville, that number of unsheltered now exceeds 600. Today, renters need to earn about $36 per hour to pay the rent that averages just under $1,900 a month. This cost is well beyond the reach of hundreds of local seniors who have been forced to join the ranks of the homeless. Their families are often not even aware that their parent or parents are homeless because the elderly do not want to become a burden to their children. Representatives of the San Bernardino County Community Revitalization Department met with stakeholders recently. Community Revitalization is a reworked department that puts community development and housing and the Office of Homeless Services under its umbrella. By combining those two departments, the goal is to create the structure for the county to receive federal and state funding and get it right back out in the community. The department deploys between $50 million and $100 million annually under the Community Revitalization umbrella. During the 2022-2023 fiscal year, they awarded over $18 million in contracts to Continuum of Care agencies and implemented a $1.7 million Encampment Resolution Fund grant to address large-scale homeless encampments, which included the Mojave Riverbed. The department's goals include housing the most at-risk community members and increasing shelter capacity. During the last fiscal year, they served over 2,500 homeless individuals with the Emergency Solutions Grant. We opened this Victor Valley TV Local Edition newscast with the first 9/11 memorial service at Victor Valley College.
Where were you when the world stopped turning that September day? Were you out in the yard with your wife and children or working on some stage in LA? Did you stand there in shock at the sight of that black smoke rising against that blue sky? Did you shout out in anger and fear for your neighbor?
With that kind of spirit, the American spirit, that spirit that says, I will never give up. Someone who never gives up can never be defeated.
But I know Jesus and I talk to God, and I remember this from when I was young. Faith, hope, and love are some good things He gave us, and the greatest is love.
I know when I say that to people, some people say this is not a day of celebration. Yes, it is. America goes on, and America is stronger. And that is because of the American spirit.
Did you open your eyes, hope it never happened?
That none of us be found wanting on that day when we come to answer for what we did in response to those two words. So I say them here again. Let's roll.
Faith, hope, and love are some good things He gave us.
So remember that as we teach our next generation. 9/11 was when the enemy took that shot at us. We looked them in the eye and we said, guess what, America's still here and we're coming after you. So remember that when you tell the people who are in charge. Never forget that we're coming after the enemy.
Did you stand there in shock at the sight of that black smoke rising against that blue sky? Did you shout out in anger and fear for your neighbor, or did you sit down and cry? Where were you when the world stopped turning that September day?
On this Memorial Day weekend edition of TKOL, we recall the 2017 tribute to Adrian Bender. Adrian Bender was honored posthumously on Veterans Day 2017, the tribute recognizing Adrian Bender's distinguished and decorated service in the United States Army, his brother Dennis receiving the award presented by the First Family Church, their 5th annual ceremony recognizing a local veteran.
This year we picked a very special veteran. His name is Adrian D. Bender, and his family is here today, and so we want to honor them today by honoring their brother.
And today we are extremely honored to present this award to Mr. Dennis Bender, the brother of Army Specialist 5, Adrian D. Bender, who died of cancer caused by the effects of being exposed to the chemicals in Agent Orange while fighting in Vietnam. Adrian was born in Needles, California on February the 4th, 1944. And in his youth, he was a typical happy all-American boy who enjoyed playing outdoors. He loved playing baseball, but he especially loved spending time with his older brother Dennis, hunting ducks and or geese together. And although their parents would let them play outdoors as much as they wanted, still there was 2 things they demanded of them as they grew. The parents insisted that they both get a good secular education and that they also receive good religious training. And according to what Dennis told me, it was impossible to escape either one, because if they walked out the front door of their house, the high school was right there across the street. And if they walked out the side door of their house, there stood the church that they attended. Adrian was an excellent musician also. His main instrument of choice was the saxophone. He played both the alto and the tenor sax. Adrian worked on the railroad while putting himself through college. Soon after graduating, he became the band instructor at Apple Valley High School. And according to his brother, Adrian taught for only a few months before joining the United States Army. He was inducted on 17 September 1968. He spent basic training at Fort Ord and then was sent to Vietnam. While there, Adrian was part of a group that went to Cambodia during the months of May and June of 1970. This group encountered the enemy and captured tons of weapons, military vehicles, ammunition, medical supplies, and even took control of a Mercedes-Benz and a Porsche. During this invasion, complete hospitals, mess halls, and bunker complexes were destroyed, setting the enemy back and giving the United States Army time to withdraw so that the Army of South Vietnam could take over the mission. But unfortunately, like in so many other instances, the Army of South Vietnam was unable to stand against the enemy, and they failed in their part of the mission. It was during this time in Cambodia that Adrian and his fellow soldiers had to walk through dead and dying shrubbery that had been sprayed with Agent Orange. Within a year or so of his contact with this chemical, Adrian began to have growths and sores appear in his body. But at first he did not associate the sores with the fact that he had been exposed to this deadly chemical. Within 2 years of getting out of the service, his brother would have to take him to the hospital to be treated for these sores. The doctors told Adrian that as long as the growths and the sores remained outside the body, he would be okay. But if they ever began to grow inside the body, they would become deadly. Specialist 5, Adrian D. Bender, passed away from cancer due to the effects of Agent Orange on February the 9th, 2003. Specialist 5 Bender was awarded the following medals for his service: the National Defense Service Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal, Vietnam Campaign Medal, the Army Commendation Medal, the Air Medal, and the Bronze Star Medal. I'd like to read what was written on that citation when he received the Bronze Star Medal. And I quote, "The President of the United States of America, authorized by executive order on 24 August 1962, has awarded the Bronze Star Medal to Specialist 5 Adrian D. Bender, United States Army, for meritorious achievement in ground operations against hostile forces during the period of 1 March 1970 to 30 June 1970 in the Republic of Vietnam. Given under my hand in the city of Washington this 14th day of July 1970, and it was signed by Jonathan R. Burton, Brigadier General, United States Army." And as I said earlier, Adrian Bender suffered much because of his willingness to serve his country. He suffered physical, emotional, and spiritual pain because of what he was called to do while in the military. But you know, if he was here today, we'll present this Adrian will tell us to Mr. Bender. Don't make such a big deal out of it. I was just doing my duty. And like so many of you that are sitting here today, he would tell us, don't make me out to be a hero. Don't put me on a pedestal. But please, just try to understand that what I went through in combat has affected me forever. The sights and sounds of watching my fellow soldiers fight and even die has left an everlasting impact on my soul. And please try to understand what is going through the heart and the mind of an old veteran as he salutes Old Glory, as the bugler plays taps, or as he listens to the Star-Spangled Banner. Greater love has no one than this, that someone laid down his life for his friend. Specialist 5 Adrian D. Bender served his country with honor and distinction. And although his life here on this earth was short, still he left a lasting impression on all who knew him.
Favorite destination for travelers and visitors to the Victor Valley.
Toward Adrian's brother, Dennis Bender, I would like to say that Mr. Dennis Bender has been one of the most loved and well-respected teachers that ever come out of Apple Valley.
Driving in winter storm conditions was among the PowerPoint topics at Wrightwood's annual Winter Traffic Meeting. San Bernardino County Fire, CHP, Angeles National Forest, Public Works, and Caltrans officials met to prepare for the influx of winter visitors who come to the mountain village. Wrightwood sits in portions of Los Angeles County, San Bernardino County, and the Angeles National Forest, so all three regions assist with winter planning. San Bernardino County Fire hopes to have an additional ambulance stationed in Wrightwood this winter and is considering the purchase of additional snow vehicles that will be kept at Wrightwood Station 14. The captain of Victor Valley Sheriff's Station emphasized the importance of having the CHP on speed dial and the departments working together. At the same time, the importance of residents to prepare themselves to survive until help can reach them was pointed out. Listen to that 7-day forecast. Shop ahead of time. Buy canned goods and bottled water. Make sure you have plenty of medication. All advised. Drivers coming up to see the snow should also bring adequate winter clothing, snow boots, an emergency kit, blankets, and extra water and food. Members of CHP, Caltrans, and San Bernardino County Public Works urge visitors not to block the roadways, to put on chains, or play in the snow. They also emphasize the importance of residents parking in their driveways and not on the street, so the snowplows can clear the roads. Weather advisory experts foresee a very high El Niño winds season ahead. That's typically a warmer phase, but they cannot predict how it will impact snowfall. A Mountain High Resorts spokesperson stated they are looking forward to another great ski season, a big winter, a super El Niño. New business items on our agenda: the arrival of Veganburg and Rosa Maria's Mexican restaurant, Dairy Queen's return, another Chipotle and Raising Cane's, and a pair of Sprouts Farmers Markets among the new establishments determined to serve the Epicurean delights of Victor Valley residents and visitors this year. The high desert's first. Sprouts Farmers Market is in Victorville, best known for offering fresh produce, meats, and organic food. The new Sprouts will occupy the building that formerly housed Toys R Us on Amargosa Road. The Amargosa Crossroads Retail Shopping Center. Businesses will include a Chase Bank, a Chipotle drive-thru restaurant, and a Mr. Car Wash. New to Hesperia, Dairy Queen and Rosa Maria's Mexican restaurant, situated side by side on the corner of Bear Valley Road and Cypress Avenue. Veganburg, a pioneer in the world of 100% plant-based burger joints, has opened on Main Street and Catawba Road in Hesperia. Veganburg bills itself as the world's first 100% plant-based burger joint. Plans to construct a new Starbucks have been approved to be located in the Stater Brothers Shopping Center on Main Street and Maple Avenue. This location will be Starbucks' first purpose-built drive-through only model in the Mojave River Valley. A new Pathways to College campus has broken ground in Hesperia. The new facility is south of Mojave Street between 3rd Avenue and Hesperia Road. Completion date is targeted for October of this year. The area's largest housing development ever, Silverwood's master plan community, will bring more than 2,000 homes to Hesperia, with model homes expected to be ready this year. Industrial expansion includes the Hesperia Commerce Center's complex, situated on the west side of Interstate 15 and along Caliente Road. Building 1 is complete with Modway Furniture Wholesaler and Peloton exercise equipment as occupants. Buildings 2 and 3 are nearly finished, with completion expected early this year. Apple Valley planned construction of the new Sprouts Farmers Market and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. Both businesses will be included in a shopping center on the south side of Bear Valley Road, directly across from El Pollo Loco and Sonic Drive-In in the Apple Valley Town Center. The Bell Mountain Commerce Center, billed by town officials as Apple Valley's largest project ever, is a 2.5 million square foot logistics center to be constructed at Stoddard Wells Road and I-15. A Love's Travel Center will be constructed at the corner of Stoddard Wells Road and I-15. The center includes a fuel station, a convenience store, a fast food restaurant, a maintenance building, and an RV park. This special edition of TKOL is brought to you by Down Home Grill. Call 760-241-4663 for delivery, drive-through, or dine-in at Bid Fast and Last, world-class auctioneers. Solid quality truck body, family-owned and operated since 1954. The Bradco Companies, our area's longest-standing full-service commercial brokerage firm. Iwanzak Law Firm, trial lawyers for serious problems. We Got 'em Tees, your headquarters for custom screen printing and mastercraft embroidery design. And by the Holiday Inn in Victorville. The Holiday Inn, conference and convention center for the high desert and destination of choice of visitors and travelers to the Victor Valley. That's a wrap on this edition of Terry Kurtz Online. On behalf of Victor Valley Television Productions, thank you for watching. We hope to see you again next time around.